Welcome to another fantastic episode of Diz Debate. We are so happy you're here. We're so happy to be here today. We got a great episode for you. Diz Debate is a Disney parks and sort of just a Disney podcast by Disney fans for Disney fans. We talk about all sorts of things from the parks to the movies, and we have all sorts of episodes like Armchair Imagineering and battle episodes, and episodes like today where we just kind of discuss. So. We're glad you're here, and we hope you stay tuned in for a little bit. We've got a new face today, and we've got some returning friends as well. We're so happy to have you back. But I'm Jackson. I'm Disneyland Man's Instapics on Instagram. That's where I am, and I'm happy to be here as always. Dean, how are you doing today?
Yeah, not too bad, thank you.
Excellent.
I'm Dean's Parks and Vibes on Instagram, and it's really great to get Sarah back today and get Daniel on, or Dan on for his first chat. Be a good one.
Fantastic. Yeah, Dan, how are you doing today? It's good to have you.
I'm good. The weather's been great, so that helps, especially in Wales. And yeah, this is my first podcast, so fingers crossed it goes well.
Yeah, we have faith in you. It's going to be fantastic. We got a great topic. So, plus Dean saves me at least 3 times an episode. He's got your back. Sarah, how are you doing today? It's good to have you back.
I'm good, thanks. Yeah, I'm 34 weeks pregnant, so I'm a little bit heavier than usual. And you can also find me on Instagram by the Main Street Adventurer and also on TikTok as well.
Okay, awesome. And we may have our good friends, the Foolish Mortals, join in with us in just a little bit. They're doing a little bit of traveling today. But yeah, we're happy to dive in. So today our topic is going to be the new additions to Disney Adventure World, the Frozen Land and sort of whatever they call it, Adventure Way, Adventure Bay or something. Yeah, World of Frozen and Adventure Way. So we're just going to kind of talk about those. We've got 2 people that have been on the scene that are ready to report. But for me, so just because I don't get over to Paris very often, could someone explain to me what they've added first? Like let's set the ground rules here. What have they done and what have they added, and then we can kind of dive into it.
Cool. I can cover the history of this one. So we can go way, way back to 2018 when essentially Disneyland Paris announced that they were going to do this bigger expansion onto Walt Disney Studios. And it was a 2 billion funded expansion essentially at this point. And the first expansion that they revealed to us was essentially that it was going to be Avengers Campus. And that opened, unfortunately, later on. So they had delays over, of course, everybody remembers COVID, whether you like it or not. It was there. So that did cause that delay there. So Avengers Campus opened in July 2022. And then following on from that, we had the big Adventure Way and Adventure Bay expansion, which was essentially the lake and the walkway that would go towards the lake as well. And then we've just recently entered the new era, which of course then had the name change from Walt Disney Studios to actually Disney Adventure World instead. And then after that, we then got the big announcement that I think everyone's been waiting for. When were they going to open the gates? And that was indeed World of Frozen, and also Rapunzel Tangled Spin as well as the expansion area, which is a little bit of a smaller area compared to World of Frozen, but it is a beautiful pristine new area for everyone to discover, as well as alongside food kiosks and entertainment on the bay as well.
Okay, so this was a big. I'm looking at a map, and this is quite a big expansion. They did kind of go for it, and you said 2 billion. Like that's a
Two
chunk of
billion.
money. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
a chunk of money,
Chunk of
bro.
money.
So
They also invested that into Disney Village as well itself. So Disney Village is essentially off-site of Disneyland Paris's 2 parks. It kind of is in between them, and it's their entertainment sector. So it's got the dining, it's got shopping there as well. So they've revamped that, they're renovating that. We also have the world's largest McDonald's now. So we've taken over Florida, I believe, for that. So that's there as well and open. And we also have new Lego store, new stores for merch, deco, home, you name it, it's pretty much there now. And some of those will be opening soon, I believe, in the summer and also late 2027 as well. So it's been a big expansion and furthermore to come as well. So it's exciting times.
Thank you. That was very thorough. I appreciate that, Sarah. I just wanted to kind of get the reason why I did that is because I wanted everyone to be on the same page as to where the expectations were for this land. Because I think some people might be coming in and they're like, oh yeah, World of Frozen looks great. But some people have been waiting for that land for years and they knew the budget. And so I think that totally changes the way that you view an expansion. So I just wanted to make sure like some of our viewers kind of knew what we were thinking as well. So, Sarah and Dan, what is it like? Give us the scoop. I want to know all the things you thought. What are the disappointments? What are the wins? Give us the things.
Should we start off with what happened on the 15th, Dan, or is it something we don't talk about now?
I think it needs to be talked about, but I think it needs to be sort of, I don't know how to describe the chaos, the drama, the lack of communication, the queuing, the utter disappointment that was that first annual pass holder preview on the 15th. It was quite clear from that first preview that it was a massive test using probably some of, I don't know how to describe this because everybody's pass is different levels, but as a gold pass holder, paying the amount of money that I did for that gold pass, I felt very mistreated that day. For those of you who obviously haven't seen it on the internet, there was just endless amounts of queues, no cast members to be found. If you could find a cast member, they were clearly very distressed with the information that they might have been told that at that point that then changed that they hadn't been told. So it was sort of organized chaos is the only sort of way I could describe it. But I think from the way it's gone since, which we'll come back to, because obviously I was lucky enough to do 2 previews, they learnt from mistakes pretty quickly, which is good to say, but at the same time, it probably left a lot of negativity in some minds of people that went on the 15th. I mean, to start off with, the basics of how do we even, go into this preview wasn't made clear to anybody on the 15th. I found out from people that weren't pass holders that had just walked past and somebody has explained, oh, it's a preview, but you've got to leave the park to get your wristband, to then pick up your wristband, to then go back in later on for your time slot. So it was a bit sort of everywhere. So yeah, I'm going to give sort of a version of events from the 15th and then a version of events from the 23rd, was it we went to?
Yeah, it was the 23rd.
Oh, and he's wearing that jacket.
I
we don't
specifically
talk
put
about
it
that
on
jacket.
for you.
I literally saw it. I was like, oh no, Dan's going to kick off.
Hannah and Laszlo, it's good to have you. How are you today?
All right, just got in.
Good, thanks. Apologies for being delayed. We've just been to a horror convention and there was a bit of a traffic from the way back from Manchester. So apologies, everyone.
Oh,
But we are here.
that's all right. We knew you were going to show up, so we already told everyone you were coming. But Harry, how are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic. Thanks for joining us. We're happy to have everybody. We're just getting into it. So Sarah's gave us a quick rundown of what the expansion is and what our expectations kind of were, and then Dan's about to tell us about his horror stories that him and Sarah have been through on their previews. So, and another one, Lewis. There he is. Fantastic. Now everybody's here.
All rocking up at the same time.
Everybody pulled up. Hey, Lewis.
Hey,
How's it
whoa.
going, man?
I see some familiar faces. Hello, everybody.
Hi.
I
I
think we've
am
got
boarding a
4
train, so
detention
this could be an
stuff
interesting
to put
procedure.
out for people.
But I'll do my best.
I love that he's doing this on the train. Absolutely
Don't miss your
fantastic.
train, because in the UK, you miss your train, you never get on the next one until 3 days later.
It's all right. It's
Yeah.
25 minutes delayed. So
Surprising
Standard
twist of
British, then.
events.
Well, fantastic. We're glad to have everybody here. Everyone, just be sure, Lewis, this one's for you. Make sure to everyone mute your mics so that we don't get any passing trains in the episode. That's the first time I've had to say that. But we were just about to hear from Sarah and Dan about their experience at Adventure World. So why don't you guys go ahead and keep telling us all the details?
Jackson,
Dan.
sorry,
Yeah.
Everybody on the chat bar me has been there now. So
Everyone has. Oh,
but
fantastic.
Dan was just telling us about his bad experience on the first preview he went to, and then, he'll continue
Okay.
from there.
Well, that's fantastic. I'm glad everyone's been. I'm sad I haven't been, but we're excited to hear from all of you. So we're just going to dive into what we experienced and what we liked, what we didn't like, and then we're just going to kind of tear that apart. So go ahead, continue, Dan, and then we'll kind of jump. Everyone can jump in.
Okay, so where were we? We picked up the the wristband. My time slot was at 6 p.m. I entered. Oh, this is going to where I'm going to mess up here. This is still technically Walt Disney Studios at 6 p.m. Is that the way we're going to go with this, or do you want to refer to it as Adventure World?
No, that's just
Either
fine.
one.
Keep it.
Okay.
Tell it like it is.
So at 6 p.m. I got into Walt Disney Studios after about a 45-minute queue to pick up a wristband, which I kind of expected. They said arrive 15 minutes before, but like we all know, you always turn up that little bit before just to chance it, see if you can get in a bit early. And I thought, great, I'm in, collected these lovely little postcards. What size? They're like A4 cards, which are really, really stunning. The pictures and the artwork they've given. That is something I wasn't expecting, which I was definitely glad to keep. Went round the corner, got in past Tower of Terror, had a quick look at Rapunzel's Tangled Spin, saw that was 5 minutes. I thought, great, this preview's already going well. I thought I'll skip that. I'll come back to that later on, because from what I could see in the distance was a massive queue. All the way around from one of the food stands, I'm not sure which one it is, all the way along the pathway into the world of Frozen, where I queued for 90 minutes without anybody coming down the line explaining what was happening. I had no clue what was going on. At one point, I was so bored, I was just posting pictures on my Instagram story going, look how far I've moved in 25 minutes, to see if anybody could see a difference. And I couldn't even see a difference. So after 90 minutes of getting in, I finally got in, and it was nighttime. So I saw it all lit up, and it was fantastic. Like, theming wise, for how it looks at day and night, it's like two different experiences. There's this sort of fountain that greets you when you walked in that was lit up in purple. It was just simply stunning. I wasn't expecting the level of detail that they have done, probably because we've never seen this level of detail at the DLP before. I think that's fair to say. Some of the expansions may have fallen a little bit short in the past. I think Avengers was like the Avengers Campus was sort of a new level, but then the Frozen expansion is a different level again. And then this is where everything started to go wrong. So theming wise, it was fantastic. However, there were then 4 different queues that you were met with, where there were no cast members near these queues to let you know what they were for. You had no idea if it was for the ride, the shop, Anna and Elsa, the tavern. you didn't know what it was for. You were asking guests in the line in front of you who would sort of give you the same answer, going, we don't know. The ride kept going down, which is why everything was sort of backed up, which is why the queue didn't move, because nobody was leaving the land it was one in, one out sort of situation, which wasn't ideal considering you've been queuing for 90 minutes, but there we go. Luckily, I had a friend who was already in the expansion who managed to get some meet and greet slots for Anna and Elsa and things like that set up. So I did manage to meet Anna and Elsa on the first preview and have food at the Nordic Crown Tavern. Other than that, I couldn't do anything else. The ride was up and down. If it was up, it was a 100-minute wait. If it went down again, there's nothing else you could do. As we will obviously get onto with the jacket that Laz is wearing, I couldn't even get into the shop to get to the annual pass holder merch because the queues were so backed up. So it wasn't a very pleasant experience for that 15th. And that's pretty much that's all I can say about the 15th. Is I had food, had a meet and greet, and saw Cascade of Lights, which we'll get onto later, probably once everybody else has joined in. So yeah, it wasn't the best of previews, but I was certainly glad of what I did see, but I wanted more. I think that's probably where I should leave the 15th for now.
Were the rest of you there on the 15th as well, or was Dan the first one to go to that first preview?
No, he was the test subject.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't go on any of the previews. I went on the opening.
Oh,
Nice.
He was the other test
I thought I had it
subject.
rough.
The opening was, yeah.
Just the same?
No, so it was a bit more organised than the actual 15th. From speaking to the people that went on the 15th, it was a lot more organised. But so we were queuing up probably I think it was like 4:30 in the morning, 5 o'clock in the morning. We was queuing up outside the security, and everyone else was. But then we were going from Cheyenne Hotel, so we walked around because they said the train station security would be opening first. So we was like, we'll walk around, go to the train station security, and then all of a sudden they let the hotel guests go in first through the security. So they probably had about 15-20 minutes, and then all of a sudden they let the train station security in, and everyone was just going through really quickly. They weren't really checking any bags, and then everyone was sprinting. Then they get you to the gates. Then obviously you're waiting for, they had the reveal where it's Adventure World, and then you go through what's the World Premiere. They open up the doors for World Premiere, you walk through, and then you're all just stuck in World Premiere. Nothing's happening. And then you're there for probably about another 20-25 minutes, and then they open it up. Then Minnie does marching bands, and then they open up the gates, and they had a Make-A-Wish kids there. So they let them go through first, which was really nice. And then we follow behind, and then all of a sudden you get halfway through Adventure Bay, and I'll show you. It was absolute chaos, and then just people just sprinting, and it was really bad because the security were doing really well up until a point of Adventure Bay, and then they just let everyone run past. Bearing in mind, Make-A-Wish kids hadn't even got to the Frozen ride yet, and then they were like, let everyone run. And then so there's some people that were sprinting past Make-A-Wish kids to get onto the Frozen ride, and then it was just like, what is going on? Meg was in a wheelchair. She was getting people plummeting, falling on top of her. There was people falling on the floor. I was having to run to push to get her out of the way because yeah, it was chaos. Obviously the ride broke down for 6 hours on that day. We managed to get on it twice, luckily. Twice, two or three times. There was queues. People, they got to a point that the shop was so busy that you wasn't allowed in it even after the ride. So that was chaos. That was causing arguments. No one was allowed in it outside. And yeah, the first probably 2 hours in the shop was absolute hell because there was no stock out because everyone was just chucking everything in baskets. All the pins. They had loads of stock though. There was loads of stock out the back, but they just couldn't refill the shelves up as quick as what everyone else was taking. But overall, it was really like, bar the first 4 hours, I would say, going into the evening was really nice. Like Dan said, Arendelle was beautiful. When it's all lit up in the evening, it's really magical. And it's the first time I've never been to Florida, so I got to ride Frozen Ever After the first time, and that was really, really good. And I went there for a few days. It did break down on one of my times, and we had to get evacuated, which was really interesting because the fire rescue team had to then come in because it's a boat ride. Obviously, the boat's going side to side, so they have to get you off safely, and that was really interesting. The whole thing was lit up, but yeah, it's a learning curve for Disney. I think that I wish that they held everyone back a lot longer than what they did, because the Make-A-Wish kids should have been able to go onto the ride first, come off, and then let everyone into Arendelle, because at that point it was chaos. That bit was very unorganized, and they were doing well, but it was chaos letting all three security all in at the same time. And the disability lines, there was no disability lines. Like, people, they weren't checking. There was no priority queue lines because everyone was just standing in. Everyone's like, oh, yeah, my family member's there, I'm going to go and stand there. And then, yeah, it was just a bit chaos. But yeah, it was a long day, very long day, waking up at half 3 in the morning, and then we didn't get back till like at 1 a.m. It was a very tiring day.
We were watching your videos and Meg's videos there from the day, and I think the worst thing is when you're in that crowd, that especially when you're in the middle of it, that you've got two options: either they're stomping up on you, or you have to start running, like you're running for your life. And that's I think the worst. And I was like, I was just thinking of you guys, like, how did you not panic? Because I would be like in the middle of it. I'm not great at crowds. If I was in the middle of that, I would panic. I think
Meg was panicking because there was this man that just kept falling on top of her, was going into the side of the wheelchair, and was falling on top of her. And then he's moaning at me because I'm continuing going forward. And I'm like, well, slow down. You don't need to run. I was like, there's no need to run. Just walk. We're all gonna get in there. And then, because obviously they've said that they were only allowing 2,000 people into it, and then it's going to be another 1 in, 1 out, like the previews. So everyone wanted to be in there first because there was more than 2,000 people behind us. So if you didn't run, if people didn't run, they knew that they likely were going to have to wait in queue.
It's just so strange.
Yeah, it was.
Sometimes they're so good at crowd control. Like, if you look at the parades, that they can control the people, like not running in front of them, or at minis. Like, why can't they just use the exact same principle when it comes to opening up the park? And it's not just this event. Like, anytime they open the park, people are running. For Crush's Coaster, for example, just stop the people from running. Try to do
They were doing great when the gates opened, and the Make-A-Wish kids went. They let the kids go first through Adventure Way onto Adventure Bay, and then walk all the way round, and we're like following it behind. Then you got the cast members waving. Then you had Buzz and soldiers. You had Woody all on walking along. You had characters all along like greeting you into Arendelle. And then all of a sudden they just was like, "Run, go, you're free." It's
just so strange though, because like I went to the opening weekend of Avengers Campus, and Avengers Campus was actually really like, in terms of the crowd control, they had like barriers. So like where like after you've gone into world premiere and you come outside, they had all barriers across, so you were in like different queue barriers, and then they would literally scan people in, and it'd be a situation, because it was smaller, because it was just the one expansion at that point that was open, that they allowed people to kind of be controlled a little bit more, so there was like less run into stuff. Of course, like the rides and stuff was like insane times, but it was a lot more controlled for that first initial part. And especially for like your first experience walking in, you want it to kind of feel a bit like, whoa, I can kind of experience it. I can look around and kind of see my surroundings about what I've been looking at for like the past 3-4 years of us kind of been anticipating this opening. So I think it is something that I feel like they do need to kind of learn from, and probably.
I think it's because they said that you weren't going to be allowed in the shop unless you've gone on the ride. So everyone was running to the rides because that's the only way you could get into the shop. Also, you had the little shop on the outside, but all you really have in there is the minifigures and the trolls, and that is it. So even that was quite a big queue for that. But all the main stuff, you had to go onto the ride to get into the shop. There was no other way. Like for the first the third day you could walk in, but yeah, for the first 2 days you had to go on World of Frozen Ever After to get in to the actual shop, because they weren't letting anyone else in, so that's why people were running. But yeah, and then it broke down within an hour and then was shut. It reopened pretty quickly, and then again, I think it shut like a couple of hours later, and then it was shut for like 5 hours. And then by that point, most people had like left because they were like, "Well, we're not going to wait." We left Arendelle. We managed to get in the evening, and it wasn't any issues. But it was the first like 4 or 5 hours was absolute chaos. Yeah, it was just, you couldn't move, couldn't watch anything, couldn't do anything. But yeah, they definitely need to sort out crowd control, because that was just, it was hell, absolute hell.
To be fair, I've kind of found that with DLP anyway. I mean, to be fair, all of you were there pretty much at the same time as myself, obviously on pretty much a joint trip, which was pretty cool. But what we kind of realized is that the further on in the day that we went, the quieter both parks just ended up being, which you'd think wouldn't really necessarily happen as much. Obviously, if it's like a weekday, the kids go back to bed, whatever. But even like a Saturday, it was still fairly quiet. There was points where we could just go and ride rides again and again in the evenings, which I hadn't really seen. And obviously now that World of Frozen's open and it's a whole new sort of funnel of people to go down, it's going to be even better for them. But, I think it's getting to a point where now DLP is not a full park day. You don't have to do it. It's becoming Orlando, where you don't have to rope drop in the morning, because there is enough you can do in the evenings to be able to expand those park days out. And I think that's, World of Frozen's very much helped that as well. So it excites me that I don't have to wake up at 7 a.m. to go and do a DLP day anymore. So we'll see how that goes.
Yeah, I think Adventure World is turning into, it is a full day park now. It's no longer a half a day park, especially with the amount of shows that you've got. You've got this Together, you've got Mickey and the Magician, you've got the mini show, you've got obviously Alice, which is coming back next year as well. And then you're going to have Lion King that's going to reopen, the Lion King Lands. It's going to be going into over a 2 day. It's no longer a half a day park. There's so much to do, but yeah, World of Frozen, it is a beautiful, beautiful land. Looking at it.
I think the problem they're having with the ride is it's physically the first dark ride they've got in the park with all the animatronics, which is crazy when you consider how long the park's been open. So hopefully by the time Lion King comes around, they'll know how to look after their audio animatronics and keep them running throughout the day. Yeah, sorry, Jackson, carry on.
Well, no, that's a really good point, Dean, and that kind of goes to what I was going to say, which is I'm seeing a lot of I'm getting deja vu with DCA with this park, because it's sort of had a troubled start and it's sort of had a troubled life, and I think this and Avengers Campus, but I really think Frozen is a big investment into this park's future. Because I'm seeing, like, I think it's a really great park and I think it's a really great land. And from what we've heard, like, yes, opening days at Disney are always nightmares. I think this is just their thing. I don't know why they suck at them, but they just do, even despite how many they've done for the past, 70 years. But I also think that this is them saying, hey, we're gonna put more money into this park. Like, this is gonna become a part of it. And I like that because I'm seeing the glow up that we saw when they did DCA and they gave it Buena Vista Street and they did Cars Land and they put this immensely good land in the park and it drew people there. So I really like that. But I just find it hilarious that people that they can't control the crowds. Like, I get it, crowds do suck to control, but it's just funny because I mean that's Disneyland's big, funny story is that the first day was just absolute chaos, and it's like they didn't learn, which is funny from that one thing. They have, and I'm sure they were doing their best, but it's funny that that's a continuous theme throughout the Disney parks, like, histories, that one thing.
Well, they sent an email out like a couple of days before, or like I think it was a week before, and they said if you're going on the opening, basically don't go. They said we recommend you to go on the Monday or the Tuesday if your trip is extended, because there's a chance you're not going to get into Arendelle or get to ride Frozen Ever After.
Interesting.
So they were trying to encourage people not to go for the opening and putting them off. And I was expecting on that opening that they were going to do something really unique over in the main park. They were going to have like unique characters roaming around, just walking around, which will deter people from Adventure World and going over to the main park because they get to meet these characters that you don't usually get to meet. But they didn't do that. And I do think that would have sorted out the crowds a lot better if they had unique characters walking around. People go, okay, I'll leave now, let other people in, and going to meet these characters that I don't usually get to meet. And that could have been a way that they would have been able to control the crowds a lot better and remove people from Adventure World and over into the main park. It was almost a lost opportunity because they do it with so many other days, like Chinese New Year. They bring all these unique characters out, all these special days that they do, and it is an opportunity that they could have had because there wasn't many people in the main park. I was looking at the ride times, and you could get on Big Thunder Mountain in like 20 minutes. It was crazy, absolutely mad.
So besides the crowds and besides the few rocky opening first days and the Make-A-Wish kid stuff, we'll just skim over that. But besides that, how's the land? Like, we've heard it's pretty at night. What's the rides like? As Sarah was saying, the food is good. Let's hear. I want to hear what it's actually like to be there because I've watched the videos, but flights to get over there for me and my wife are like, $2,000. So you guys are just gonna have to tell me.
The food is such a massive upgrade compared to everywhere else in Disney. You've got, well, Meg's favorite as well is the onion soup in the bread bowl. It's so nice.
Wow, like I had that at night and it was like peak. It was so good. And I think Lewis also had, I think it was the Mexican one as well, the Mexican bread bowl,
chili con carne.
Yeah.
Vegan
Is that
too,
nice?
I must say. It's vegan, which I'm not, but I appreciate the fact it's there.
Yeah,
Like
there's more
they got
opportunities for that, isn't there? For
yeah.
like in terms of vegan, gluten free, there's way more. I
Gluten
think
free
that's
being a
what's
massive
really
one.
good about Adventure World. Yeah,
There's so many different options as well. You've got like the hot dogs.
There's
So
loads.
this is the onion soup. What it looks like.
Yeah.
It's really really nice. Oh, it's so nice. But it tastes different. So I tried it once. I was like, oh, I'll give it like a 7 out of 10. And then I had it the next day and I was like, this is a 10 out of 10. This absolutely, yeah, it was so good. In the Nordic restaurant, the ice cream's really nice there. I don't know if you had the ice cream.
the tutti frutti. I was
Really,
like,
really nice.
because at first I was like, do I just go for the traditional, like the vanilla one? And then I was like, nah, let's go all out for this. Let's get the tutti frutti and try that. And that just blew me away because for a soft serve as well, like just the flavoring of it. And then I think just the menu itself as well, the fact that you've got different combinations. So for picky eaters, it's really, really good because you can have different combinations versus for what you kind of want instead of like that restricted kind of traditional DLP menu that we all kind of have, where you're kind of restricted to one dessert that's specific and one main meal and one side and a drink. Whereas that's probably the perfect place to kind of go if you are like a little bit more of a picky eater, to be honest.
But that is also the only place you can go to get a hot drink as well if you're in that land. Otherwise, you've got to walk quite far. Especially if you want to watch Cascade of Lights from Arendelle. If that
I will say
opening.
God, I was just going to say, like on that, in terms of like food and drink and things like that. I mean, myself, Sarah, and Dan have kind of spoken about this more in depth previously. We're pretty convinced that, I don't know if this has been spoken about already, but it's going to turn into an Epcot situation with a food and wine festival. Obviously, in the winter time, DLP is very well known for having the little like present things that are outside Small World and then outside Remy's as well. Those are now gone. They have officially been like removed, which I know they did for like a little bit last year, but the ones outside France kind of stayed for a longer period of time. It would be a hugely missed opportunity to then not put those outside the Around the World Showcase, which of course, once Lion King opens and then once whatever comes next, whether that's Zootopia, Triple S, whatever it may be, I think a massive missed opportunity would be not capitalizing on those ones that are previously successful that people love in Epcot, which obviously is the drink around the world, is the eat around the world. Like those things they need to capitalize on. And I really wouldn't be surprised if that's what they do. So I think give it time. And I think that Adventure World will end up being the place to be, especially when it comes to food and drink. And the French should pride themselves on that because they're French.
They have put more stalls in though, haven't they? So there's like 4 or 5 more stalls with more food variety. But they can put more. There's so much room to put more. It's perfect. It's a perfect place for meet and greets. There's so much room. There's so much place. You can have so many more stalls around, like little stalls, champagne carts. You can have. Everyone wants a champagne cart, and there's only one other than at the start of Adventure Way. Then, as you enter, just stick loads of food. Give us loads of champagne carts. Give us loads of food, and that's all we want.
Yeah, and if you're talking about food, the sit-down restaurant as well, it is such a massive improvement comparing to any of the other sit-down restaurants and character dinings that they've done in Disneyland
Regal
Paris.
View.
Regal View, like
10 out of 10.
Absolutely. It's the thing is, for us in Disneyland Paris, character dining was always a kind of like a weak point of it because they were always really crammed, small tables, very close to each other, people bumping into you. No one can be found with the characters to take photos for you, and then you're just pestering people sitting around you. And it kind of like the experience was just not great, like at least what we experienced. And now there's this new restaurant, Regal View, and I remember we were chatting about that before as well, that they released the menu, it doesn't seem very nice, it seems very like bland.
Yeah, I wasn't excited about the menu, but after trying it, it was so good.
We went there, it is spacious, that restaurant is absolutely massive, the tables are big, even if it's just the two of you, you get a decently sized table. The tables are spaced out very well. there are a lot of cast members, and when the characters are coming, it's very easy to find someone, a cast member, to take the photos for you. And you've got characters, princesses, because it's the summer house of the princesses, I believe. That was the original synopsis. You get princesses in outfits that you've never seen them before. So it's a little bit different, and it's pricey. I'll be honest, it's an expensive dining experience, but
was it like €100?
It was €100 per person,
and then you got to add on your drink.
Yeah, exactly. You have to add on the drinks because nothing is included in that. But the food was absolutely outstanding.
It's worth the price.
We were like,
for the experience and the quality of the food, definitely worth the price. And the wine pairing is great.
The wine pairing actually is a great price.
Yeah.
Because it was €25, so you get three wines with it, 3 glasses of wine. And if you consider that one of the cocktails would have been €18, yeah, that €25 wine pairing is actually very decent. And they were good wines.
Well, yeah.
Yeah. And you can get the champagne there as well with the fancy flute. Unfortunately, when we went on our preview day, they haven't had them in stock yet, so they were very apologetic. I still had a glass of champagne because I just like the champagne card, the Disneyland champagne, and I'm not a big wine drinker or anything like that, but I really enjoyed it, and the experience just really paid off, and it's such a massive.
Staff were lovely.
Staff were absolutely amazing. Like the last 2 character dinings that we had in Disneyland Paris before that once was in What's it? I'm always getting
Plaza
confused.
Inn? What's it in Paris?
What's it called? The breakfast restaurant.
It is
Plaza Gardens.
Yeah, exactly.
Plaza Gardens.
And then before that, we had Royal Banquet, and the cast members were absolutely unenthusiastic. They were not particularly helpful, and they
didn't want to be there.
They didn't want to be there, and we got in there.
I found they focused on kids as well with the Royal Banquet. When I went,
really?
They didn't really want to come over to the table. They didn't really bring the characters over to the table.
No, the characters were like doing their own thing. They were just like, well, we're going to be going because we're having fun. And then all the other cast members just seemed like, we don't care, do whatever you want.
Experience a banquet, actually, because I don't know whether it's because it's when you go, because we opted to do it at lunchtime, and I think a lot of people opt for evenings, which seems to be always on the busier side as well. And we had lunch there, and the characters came up to us like 3 or 4 times, because it wasn't that busy, I don't think, but it was in I think it was like the 3rd week of it opening as well. And the cast members was really, really good, really attentive. The food was great, but for me personally, I don't think I'd go back because it's all kind of more fish type menu, and I'm not really into fish, so I feel like I didn't get the value for the buffet as much as I think people would if they did like that offering, because it was more kind of catered to that. I think there was different meat options there, but I think it was more the desserts that were really, really nice at Royal Banquet. But I think in terms of Regal View, I think my only problem that I did have with it was that I went to Table de Lumiere, Table of Light, and it's very similar in terms of the menu setup. It is more that finer dining catering, but you also get the princesses plus the princes as couples, and the service as well is really, really good. And then you also get the castle view, so you've got Regal View that gives you the world plaza view and that, whereas at Table de Lumiere you get that castle view as well. So they do have that different type of offering, but it's an extra €20. I think it's €120 for the full entire menu, and it is very similar in terms of they give you that entree, they give you the starter, the main, and the desserts as well, and it's very similar in terms of the offerings. That I think that was the only thing that kind of put me off initially, kind of wanting to go to Regal View, because I was I didn't really see much of a fundamental difference and less characters for the amount of money it was at. So for me personally, I was always kind of opting for that Table of Light versus Regal View. But I'm really keen to try it out for breakfast, I think. The breakfast seems to get quite a lot of people saying that it's really good, really nice. In terms of the offerings, they're a little bit more basic as well. So it's a little bit more family friendly for children, I think, in terms of the menu offerings for breakfast.
Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. And it looks really
Breakfast
nice.
is €20 though, I think, isn't it? Oh, €60, sorry.
€60, yeah. It is quite a high mark for breakfast in terms of character dining now that Plaza's closed.
Mhm.
Yeah, with Regal View, I'd like, because they're trying to be fancy with it, reading the menu, it was hard to figure out what the food actually was. So for us, we did like a lot of research, had to look at pictures of the meals first, and then basically look at other people's Instagram posts who have been to like previous like previews and be like, I want that one.
Yeah. But by the way, going back to Royal Banquet, if you like lobster, the best value restaurant for you is Royal Banquet at the dinner setting.
Lobster.
Yep. Because you get your money's worth in lobster if you want to.
Funny you should say about the looking at people's Instagrams for the menu, because I read the menu and went, I have no idea what that is. And then I watched your vlog and went, well, actually, yeah,
really
I do like
good.
that. Now I know what it is, and it doesn't
like
sound
steak and
as
potato
fancy.
thing.
Yeah. Once you saw it, it was like, yeah, that's what it is. So I didn't need to overcomplicate
do a bit of
the
research.
wording of the menu. Yeah.
I think the target market for Regal View is really interesting because I don't think it's particularly aimed at families. I think it is more catered towards a more older adult audience because of the fact that it is the only one to have the bar as well. So it's the only part that has a bar included in the actual premises, which is really interesting as a choice for them for this new expansion that is heavily marketed, World of Frozen for children. So to have Regal View as the restaurant, as the fundamental offering for fine dining, is an interesting choice, I think, for Disneyland Paris.
Yeah, it never occurred to me before that you said that it's heavily marketed towards children. When you look at all the marketing of the expansion, it's all about World of Frozen. There's nothing really about Adventure Way or the lake or the bay or the restaurant. There's nothing got publicity but World of Frozen. And I think if you want to market that the Frozen bit towards children, I think the Adventure Way and Adventure Bay part is more aimed at adults with the Rapunzel ride and all, I think, but it seemed like a bit missed opportunity there for them, and you can see it on the crowd levels as well. Like when we went for our preview, no one was bothered with anything else but World of Frozen, and we found the whole area there is just so relaxing. It's so nice. You could sit there all day, just people watch, and you wouldn't be bored, and you could ride the Rapunzel ride as many times as you want, because no one is queuing for it. Fair play, like it's not something massively new, but it is a really, really nicely themed ride, and it's really, really enjoyable. And loads of kiosks where you can get snacks. You can meet Mickey, and I think they just kind of like somehow that the area just got lost in the whole advertising campaign.
Yeah, no, I agree with that because it's like if you look from it, Tangled is a really, really big IP, right? And from a park perspective, it's the first ever area for Tangled specifically, where you've got a Tangled meet and greet, you've got a show, and you've also got a ride that's themed over Tangled. So it's really interesting that they didn't actually combine that with World of Frozen. I thought they might have gone for more of the princesses style advertising to kind of loop it all in for Adventure World, but we literally just saw that it's Anna, Elsa, Olaf, World of Frozen. That's kind of how the marketing is for everything. Like, even I was at the cinema 2 days ago and it was literally just comes up as World of Frozen and that it's open. And it doesn't mention anything about any other offerings, which is particularly interesting for Disneyland Paris, because Disneyland Paris as a park always gets, unfortunately, compared with like as a family of four, are you going to go to Disneyland Paris or are you going to go to Walt Disney World, where virtually it's going to be the same amount for a family at that point? So for marketing, it's really interesting that they didn't go on to the different special benefits that Disneyland Paris has to offer within their new park.
If we're going to be talking about marketing, should we get the controversial media preview and what they saw compared to what the rest of us didn't see on many of the previews? Mainly a little friend, Roboloff, or whatever we refer to him as.
Hannah.
I am sick of this. This little Olaf has my life for the past couple of months or so, and of course on the boat show that I watch, it's a puppet. Why? Why?
Isn't it funny how I had a similar reaction when Laz had the jacket? Hannah's got the same reaction.
I'd be happy to see him from a distance. They have that perfect little cage area to put him in. They're not putting him there. And why make an animatronic that you can't get wet and put it in a rainy country on a boat? Are they fit?
That is a fair point.
I mean, when you put it that way.
Yeah, we just had this realization because someone said it when we were watching it that the reason why they don't put the animatronic out on the boat all the time is because it can get wet. And I was thinking, if it's windy, they can't put him on because there are water effects and he's gonna be sprayed. If it's raining, they can't put him on. So when can they actually put the poor little guy on the boat? And then who had this idea to put an animatronic on a boat ride that cannot be wet?
And they have a perfectly covered area where he can wander behind a fence, not get kicked by a child, and they just won't put him there.
Yep. Yeah, I agree.
Nicknamed as the Olaf pen, wasn't it? Or something they called it. It was like a little which is quite cute. But I completely agree with that. It's really strange as well that they didn't have him out for the previews because there was less amount of people, especially for the later preview days as well for the passers, because I know from the 23rd, the 24th and the 25th past days for the previews, there was still tickets available on the day for past members because people had just cancelled them. Because I think a lot of people probably saw the 15th and thought, no, I'll hold off a while and I'll come back later on. So to say that they didn't have him out on those preview days for pass holders, I think was a missed opportunity. And I also think as well, it's really interesting that they got rid of the Olaf meet and greet within studios and just said, well, it's because we've got the robotics version of Olaf, which I can completely understand from a point of view of you probably can't have two versions of Olaf in the same space, but you can't hug a robot. Whereas with the meet and greet, I think it is very more suitable for children. So it'll be very interesting to see what people's reactions are in terms of families of how they found that experience of seeing Robot Olaf for their child, because a lot of the times it doesn't seem to be working that great. I think we've all seen the viral videos of poor Olaf getting a little bit tired and had a nap.
Heaven!
And I think at that point it would have been suitable to also have some kind of meet and greet towards maybe not in World of Frozen, but in the other area where there is capacity to do different meet and greets at that point, because I think a lot of people do miss it. I've spoken to people and there's a lot of people that are very much why did they do that? Why did they get rid of that personalization of being able to meet the character, being able to hug and interact a little bit more with it? But the robotic itself we were very lucky to see Robot Olaf on the I'm getting death stares now from Hannah. We're very lucky. But unfortunately, because of the area where that particular parade, because it's on water, it gets very crowded. So if you're not there an hour or two before stand-in to see that little parade, then you've got no chance. You have to hold your phone up to literally try and angle it to see. We got to the point where we were viewing it on the last version of it for the night, and you just couldn't see anything if you weren't at the front. Like if you were second row, it was really difficult to see because the way it is that you're looking down at the boats, so it's just hard to kind of get that restricted view kind of anywhere you are around that area of the lake because it is a smaller area in Arundel. So in terms of like the parade, I didn't really see much, but it is interesting that they didn't do a nighttime version like they did on the preview. So they don't do that like now it's opened. So they had a nighttime version where you had like, you know, fireworks that kind of came out at the last part, and you had a bit more of like a different version to it. Whereas now it's just the daytime version. So I wonder why that is from a ops perspective.
Maybe the little animatronic can be amongst fireworks either. Who knows?
Past his bedtime.
Yeah, but to be fair, I have to give it to them. The puppet does work, and the puppeteers are absolutely fantastic. They're doing an amazing job because how hard it is to like control the puppet that way that it's actually working with the audio that's pre-recorded. Same thing with the robot version, obviously. Controlling that's it just blows my mind like how talented some people can be. And I actually really enjoyed the puppet version because of the restricted view. I think it's a lot more visible than the animatronic version. So
it jumps around a lot more.
Yeah, it jumps around a lot more. It's somewhat larger as well. So I actually quite enjoyed the puppet version. And in terms of the Olaf meet and greet, I'm set to see it go. However, Nick.
But just Nick? Where's
just
Judy?
Nick, yeah. I don't know where Judy is, but we finally have a Nick Wild meet and greet in Disneyland Paris, and I'm so excited about that.
Do we think that's because it might be involving maybe a certain rumor of the last expansion?
I'm really hoping. I've got everything crossed.
Yeah, I'm hoping that the last expansion, because basically we know that there's Lion King as the third expansion to Adventure World, but the fourth and final expansion is TBC, yet to kind of be released in terms of knowledge. But there's loads of rumours. There was one particular rumour that went around when there was it was when the fountain drones, the mechanicals of the bridges, the names came out. There was one in particular that was named after Avatar. Yeah. So a lot of people were then thinking, oh, that's kind of a dead giveaway that it's Avatar. But then I don't know whether they just did that to kind of see and put out feelers of how people felt about another Avatar land. I certainly wasn't okay about that, because I don't particularly like it. I don't think you should be replicating even more worlds at that point into Adventure World, but I would be definitely excited if there was a Zootopia version, especially because it's only in Asia at the moment. So I think it would be really interesting if Disneyland Paris did get that.
With the Clawhauser meet and greet.
I just think it would be just amazing to see that. I think it would really fit in as well. But I have heard rumours, a lot of people have theories about it being Moana as well, because where that particular expansion is, it looks like it's been painted green. So they were thinking, is it going to be Moana themed? Which would probably make a lot of sense with the new parade that's going to be coming to Adventure Way. In summertime, they're going to do, I think it's 3 princess floats on a parade that will be there in summer. And one of the princesses that is confirmed to be on one of those floats is Moana. So it could be a good fit for the last expansion part.
What I didn't get about that announcement is one of the other floats was Raya, who wasn't even on her float. She was just walking along next to it in the picture. Even though there looked to be like an area she could go, she just wasn't on the float. It was just a drawing, but these floats don't exist yet.
Or they may, you never know.
Probably.
I have a question to propose to everybody. Do we think that the World of Frozen will expand? Like, do we think there's room to grow, or do you think it's kind of done? Because when I was watching ride-throughs, I was like, and walkthroughs, and from what you said, it sounds magnificent, but I kind of just was hoping for a bit more, just with the budget and everything that they had. So do you think they're just doing a soft like, hey, this is what it is, and if people keep loving it as much as they are, then maybe they'll be like, hey, here's another ride, or here's a coaster, or it's a spinner, or something? Or do you think that's just out of the question?
I think it's out of the question now. Looking at the actual space and land that they've got, I think a lot of people probably will say as well is with Arendelle itself within Disneyland Paris and that expansion, it is small. It is quite a small area in terms of like footfall and having people in there. I think that's why it's probably gone a little bit in terms of the opening of Frozen. I feel like that's probably been a logistic nightmare for just DLP to organise in general, because the stores are very small. Nordic View is very small. It is a very small area, so I think in terms of it, I'd love them to expand it. I think everybody would love to see, expansion into that area, maybe for things that happen within Frozen 3, for example. Maybe additional stuff like that would be really, really cool to have as something special for DLP to kind of have and own, in relation to the other parks that have done World of Frozen, but it doesn't look like it could be in terms of optics for it.
I mean, I stayed off-site last time, same as I think a lot of us did, and it's quite surprising of how close the back of World of Frozen is to, I want to say, is it Val d'Europe? Would you call it that area?
Yeah.
It's quite close to sort of off-site hotels. So there literally, I don't think, is a lot of room to expand, which is quite odd to see the back of the mountains from your hotel as you walk back at like midnight.
Yeah, I don't think there's going to be much done there, because that's one of the reasons that I somewhat prefer the Hong Kong version of it, even though there's no lake and there is a lake, there's no lake show, but they've got that little area there where you can see the trolls, and they play audio as
like
the
a
trolls
whole
were
other side.
hiding.
Like the main square area is the same, but the only difference in Paris is you can go inside of the castle and meet Anna and Elsa. They don't have that in Hong Kong, but in Hong Kong, once you get over that bridge, there's another ride, there's an Anna and Elsa show, there's the troll area, there's an area where characters just wander around.
Yeah, but I don't think that there's going to be space in Paris. And I think like I would be more excited to see that, like, if they do any expansions, then do something new. You've done this, let's try to make it as complete as possible, and within the area that we have, we might be able to do some upgrades or change things around a little bit. I think with the meet and greet area that Anna and Elsa is doing right now, it could be alternated as well. Like, I think there would be space enough for some sort of a show in there that is similar to what they do, similar to the Beauty and the Beast kind of experience in Florida. I think that potentially would be enough space for that to do something. But if they expand further, I would want to see more, and I want to see something new, something different, and something that has never been done before. I'm talking against myself because I would really want Zootopia, but after Zootopia.
But like the only way they could like change it when new films is coming out, like edit the ride maybe.
Yeah, there's a potential.
But other than that,
yeah.
Because now we've got 3 Frozen Ever Afters, and they are very, very similar to each other. It would be actually quite cool to have different versions.
Yeah.
Like, there's 3 rides, there's going to be 3 Frozen movies. One could be Frozen, another one could be Frozen 2 themed, and the last one could be Frozen 3. I think that would actually make sense, and that would be potentially more of an incentive for us, the Disney audience, to visit all the parks, because we want to experience all the different ones. Because now, even when we went to Paris to the preview event, we were like, we are not bothered whether we get on Frozen Ever After or not, because we've done it in Florida, we've done it in Hong Kong. If we can get on it, perfect. But we wouldn't be
Not
queuing there
missing
for
out.
hours because we would rather do something else that we can do elsewhere.
I'm glad you brought up the ride. So I think this probably leads a bit of a nicer segue for me, which was the 23rd preview where I did actually get to ride it eventually. I've not done it in Florida, so I had no idea what to expect, but I got soaked. And apparently this is one of the bigger drops
Yeah.
for Frozen Ever After. I've got no idea if that's true, but I really enjoyed the ride. I think it was because it was my first time doing it. I was blown away by it.
No, it is a great ride. Like, I absolutely love it. The only reason that we were just not bothered is that, like, there are other things that we haven't seen, so we would rather try to explore that. But it's an amazing ride. It's got a great soundtrack. The drop is fantastic. The Paris version is the wettest one out of all of them. That's for sure. But the animatronics are outstanding. The whole storyline of it, love it.
The Olaf animatronic.
The Olaf animatronic is so funny, yeah, with the fountain.
Man, I had no idea you could get wet on that ride. I thought it was so chill. That totally changes my perspective
Big
about that.
touch.
I had no
Wow.
idea, and I wore light-coloured chinos, which was a bad choice.
What a surprise too. If you had no clue and you're like, what?
I think Paris has always been good at that though. Like their rides that they do have that are usually like carbon copies, for example, they are a bit more thrill.
Intensely.
Like people say that about Tower of Terror, for example, Big Thunder. People are a massive fan of that. So I feel like Paris does get that right, amongst all the others. So I feel like that's the significant difference really between like DLP, for example, and Walt Disney World at that point.
So, the new world of Frozen in Disneyland Paris. What's our verdict? Do we like it? Is it great? Is it bad? I'm hearing it's great. I'm hearing from everyone that it's awesome. Food sounds great, great rides, great merch. I saw really cute merch in a lot of the videos, if you can get it, right? But like besides the crazy people, trying to film and be the first and do all this and that, I think it sounds like it was a success, which I'm really, really happy for Adventure World. I'm really happy they got a really big win here, and I'm excited to see how that kind of helps them have momentum for the next upcoming attractions. And I think Laszlo's right. I think a Zootopia would be a much better move there than Pandora. Don't put Pandora there. Just have one. It's fine. We don't need more of them. That's my opinion as well. I think it's great in Orlando, but gosh, no, put something cuter there, please, in Adventure World. It needs a big draw. So good. I'm glad we like it.
Do you guys think that on D23 there's gonna be an announcement around about Disneyland Paris? Do we expect one?
I feel like I expect it, but I don't think it's what people want. I don't think we'll get a date for Lion King at all. Because looking at how they handled World of Frozen, for example, they took quite a while for that. Like they kind of went for that spring, like 2026 kind of we'll announce it then. And then it was quite quick when they did announce it, because I believe, was it like November time? In 2025 when they actually announced the date of it.
It was actually when we were in Hong Kong, so yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they don't typically announce things like that usually until they're really, really dead set that they can make the date. I think Paris is good with that they set the expectations quite low in terms of having a date for stuff. I think for D23, I feel like they might release maybe a bit more information about what the last expansion might be. I feel like there's been enough out there in terms of different rumors, different theories for them to probably have that in D23. But I think the major one will be what is happening to the newest hotel that they're going to be building at Disney Village. I think that will be probably the one thing that will come out of D23 for Paris, is the theming of it and what it is and what it's got to offer, because I feel like that's one of the fundamental things that DLP could probably get away with in terms of releasing something for D23. They don't typically release too much information. I think we saw from Disneyland Paris's recent announcements, they're usually fairly small, fairly just updates or kind of like concept art as well that they usually release. So they're usually quite on the lower side of like big things, just in case they don't go to plan. They're usually quite cautious, I think, in terms of parks.
Yeah. I mean, it's certainly Disney Adventure World and World of Frozen is certainly showing them, hopefully, that if you build it, we will come. Like, the love that has gone into that area and the love it's getting from the fans is like it's unheard of for Paris, if as an outsider for so many years. I don't remember reading so much buzz about it for Avengers Campus as since World of Frozen and Adventure World has opened. I mean, for me, it's gone, as we've said, it's gone from that Mickey Mouse, pardon the pun, half day park to a full maybe day and a bit park, and it feels like a brand new park. It's just one this massive expansion around a lake, and it's changed my perspective of that sort of cheap park that it was sort of known as for years. As in, it didn't look like Disneyland Park. It didn't have the beauty of it. It just felt a bit meh. But now it feels like it's a proper park and they're trying to compete. So, I mean, D23 come in, if they don't push it to the world, look at what we've done to Paris, come and have a look. They've missed a massive trick.
Yeah, you haven't seen as many overseas vloggers, influencers coming over to Disneyland Paris like ever.
No.
That's the first time when when the park gets decent coverage overseas. When you see all the most popular vloggers coming over for an opening, and they say like, "Wow, that's actually quite cool." And I think this is when you know that they've done it right. And for me at least, but I think you're the same. The main show in there is not even World of Frozen. It's the rest of the expansion that makes it that makes it for me the whole lake area, that you can sit down properly, that you can plenty of seating, which was always a kind of like thing in Disneyland Paris that you just can't sit anywhere. Plenty of seating, it's pretty views.
And I like for the nighttime show, because of the levels, you stand anywhere and it's a great view.
Yeah.
It like in Epcot, you know, you stand at the fence or you just in the middle of a walkway. But in Adventure World, stand anywhere. You can be right at the back and you're like, oh, I'm up here, I can see.
Yeah, to me it kind of feels like a mini Epcot, as if we've got a mini Epcot there.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. They've got the bones for a really great World Showcase-esque thing where you walk around the lake, you go to all the lands, you come back to Future World, which is their kind of Hollywood Studios area, which they've themed pretty well now. And I really do think this is a great step for that park. Like, this could be one of the parks now that people talk about a lot more with Frozen. And I think that's what they were shooting for. Is they're like, here's some quality to get the average up, but also we're investing here. Like, we care about this is going to happen. I appreciate that a lot about that park.
Yeah, I mean, the whole expansion is nuts compared to how it used to feel in the park. I mean, we haven't even spoken about Cascade of Lights, which was, I don't think anybody was expecting that to be as good as what it is.
I had faith. I had complete faith in DLP for their shows, because I think coming off of Tales of Magic, I was like wowed by that, and I think Cascades of Lights in terms of the tech, the fact that Paris has the drones and they had it first, brilliant. And I think that's why I really enjoyed Cascades of Lights as well, because of it. Because it's the technology that they combine with these shows, as well as the visuals that they have, and the fact that it is more of that 360 experience, that you can stand anywhere, barring the bridge, to kind of view that show. That it's not you have to wait 2 hours to get a space. You can sit on a bench and still see a perfect view of it, which is great. And I think that's a real good selling point for a nighttime show, is that it's not limited to where you are at, and that you're not going to have frustrated kids because they're not going to be like, oh, I can't see what's on the castle, I can't see what's on Main Street. You're going to have where your kids are going to be really excited because they can look up into the sky, they can see what's on the actual lake itself. So it's a good experience for everyone, which I don't think we've seen in another park before.
Which is what I was going to say, and Hannah sort of said that it's sort of built on levels as such. Because if you look at anybody's videos, you don't see that awkward, right, it's starting, let me put my child on my shoulders. Like, everybody seems to sort of have worked out that, you know, smaller people maybe take the lower level, and then if you're taller, you can stand on like the upper levels on some sections. It does seem like the view has been pretty spot on no matter where you are. Granted, I think the weather might have an impact on it some nights if the wind is at a certain
Let's talk
angle.
about B mode. Without the
I've only ever
drone.
seen A mode, so
Without the drone.
Without the
with
drone.
fountain. Glorified fountain.
so there is a pro of the 15th. I saw drones.
There you go. We had a lovely day. We just didn't get to see Olaf or the drones. Everything else was well planned.
But we were laughing at it that we were actually the first audience in the public who've seen B mode without the drones.
Yeah.
So great success. But to be honest with you, when I first saw, after the first reviews cascade, I felt that it was a bit underwhelming comparing to what I expected and how hyped it was. And fair enough, the technology is there. It's improved a lot, but probably with the drone bits especially, there's a few like magnificent ones, like Moana's grandma. That's amazing. I really like Gary the Snake. But for the rest, I think they could have done a little bit better with the drones, with the drone displays. And I felt it when I first saw it that there was a kind of a lack of a storyline to it, and there was a little bit of the drones to me were a little bit lackluster in that context. But interestingly, when we saw it it grew on me when we saw it there in person.
I think the music really carries it as well.
Yes.
They've like hit the mark with the song.
The new song is fantastic. Yeah.
But
that is so catchy. And I think the Avengers part of it is fantastic when they're using the fire effects as well. But I think my issue usually with Paris shows is that they cannot do the big fireworks, the big what do you call them? Flashy boom boom fireworks.
Yeah.
And I think that is missing if you're doing a lake show. And what I really like in Epcot when you're watching, what's it called? Luminous?
I think it's called Luminous. I'm
When
so
you-
used to Reflections of Earth.
When you got when it starts at the beginning and it says in all different languages that welcome, and the fireworks are coming from each angle like in a circle.
I like the beams.
Yeah. So that's like if there's a 360 show, I understand that there's no space for that, but because of that was kind of where my expectations were, that it was like an Epcot level show with extra firework, with extra drones and all sorts, and to me it was a little bit of lackluster. But when we saw it in real life, it was a lot better, because the interesting thing is that the kind of atmosphere there before the show is nothing like I've ever experienced before.
It was a good vibe.
It was such a vibe that everyone was singing, everyone was dancing. Then someone started flashing the mobile phones, and we started doing like waves with that and waving at the other side of the lake.
Yeah.
That atmosphere that lake and the pre-show creates is
Because you don't have that before the fireworks in the other park. Everybody stood there miserable and cold.
yeah.
I think it reminds me of Fantasmic, you know, like the pre-show before, and you like sat
Little
there
party.
and there's the really good
Yes.
Disney Channel covers on there. it's that same vibe, isn't it? Because it's cover songs. So I think everybody just was like, "Oh my God, like this is great. Like this is the vibe we want. I'm waiting here." I didn't realize, like, I think it was like 20 minutes we waited, and I didn't realize it had been 20 minutes that we'd waited for the show to start because of that.
Yeah.
Whereas I think that's the only problem with the main park, is that they don't do that. So you kind of stood there waiting, and you're just getting so many people pushing through as well that you just kind of stood there like, yeah, great. I'm looking at your watch, looking at your iPhone, trying to see what time it is until it kind of starts at that point. I think the interesting thing that they could possibly do with this show is that it feels like it's easy to change and easy to kind of extend as well and adapt. And I think with them choosing as well, like Zootopia 2, for example, especially with Gary the Snake, huge fan of Gary the Snake, so I'm always going to love that part of it. I think they've got that way that they could like kind of combine like newer IPs. So say, for instance, when new films come out, they could have that possibility, because they did it for Avatar, right? When Avatar was coming out, they did like a promo over World of Frozen with the drones. They could easily do that with that show. So I think it's got more potential to get better. So I think even though it's kind of had a bit more of a lackluster story, there's that element to it that it could change at any point. Whereas I think with Tales of Magic, that would be pretty complex to kind of change overall. Whereas with having it just where you've got the projections on the lake and the drones as well, you can reconfigure all that.
Well, yeah.
It's different that way.
Maybe they could do like a Halloween or like a Christmas show.
Yeah,
Stuff like
seasonal.
that,
Make
yeah.
it seasonal.
Yeah, I think it's a good start because the park really needed a nighttime show. And by the way, I disagree with you on one thing. Like, very uncomplexly, they just removed the drones and changed Tales of Magic. And I really don't like it because those drones were so good. The Mufasa drone that makes me cry every time.
It is strange that they took the drones out of Tales of Magic, considering it's like, I think it won a load of awards as well.
Yeah.
For its actual show and drone show as well.
Yeah.
So I think it's quite interesting that they chose to take them out. I don't know whether it was a budget thing and you could only, or they had a certain amount of drones that they could only do one drone show.
Well, what time were they
I'm
doing
not
both the
entirely
shows
sure.
at? Because I saw someone's vlog, they were watching the lake show, and then in the background, the castle show was going on, and you could see their drones as well.
And it looked fantastic.
Yeah, it looked really
so
cool,
good.
but is it so they don't clash? Because are they going on at the same time?
First, I thought that they need the drones at the other park, but they are different drones that they're using.
Yeah, do they
so
only
it's
have
not
one
even
set
that.
of drones?
It's not even that.
Yeah, because I saw the same video and it was a bit confusing going, okay, so there's an Avengers scene and then all of a sudden
Mufasa.
there's a rose in the background.
I loved it.
Yeah, I thought it was cool.
Fascinating.
I mean, that was something I was going to bring up as well, because you brought up the soundtrack of the, I can't remember what the song is called. It's we
Can Be Heroes.
Could Be Heroes. That's it. The music on Adventure, The Walkway In. Have you listened to the soundtrack of that yet?
Yeah.
They've nailed that. Was it the London Symphonic Orchestra and somebody, whoever
Yeah, they
it is.
recorded in the Abbey
nailed
Road,
it.
in the Abbey Road studio.
Yeah. It's such a relaxing bit of music. I listened to it this morning walking on a lake just to feel like I was there. All right, didn't have the same feeling, but the music in my ears sort of does weirdly transport you back to when you walk around the lake. They've nailed it. They've nailed the theming.
Isn't it the same orchestra that did Tales of Magic as well? Because that was a London orchestra that got brought in to do it.
So
it'd be really interesting to see if there's like a bit of a collaboration that's ongoing with that.
That'd be interesting, yeah. But it seems like more and more often now, Disneyland Paris, they just use the same orchestra, but potentially different conductors and different composers, which obviously puts a different kind of effect on the performance, on the output product. But that's I think lately Disneyland Paris have been doing really, really well with music.
Yeah, shows and music, they seem to have got nailed down to perfection.
Yeah.
Other aspects, maybe not so much, but the entertainment side is probably fantastic compared to some of the other offerings the parks have got.
And we seem
like
like
that Lion King show.
Sorry, and we seem like we're getting roaming characters now as well. That you're just to go further on what you just said, because we never. The only times that we saw roaming characters in studios was Director Goofy. And now it seems like you get more roaming characters there as well, because Flynn Rider and Rapunzel are roaming. You every now and then can catch
Peter Pan and
Peter
Wendy.
Pan, Wendy, Mickey and Minnie.
Mary Poppins and Bert.
Yeah, which is great. And
it's creating more of that world.
Yeah.
It's sort of no longer feeling like it's a standard theme park. It's more like an immersive world that you've sort of just walked into, which I suppose is why they've called it Adventure World.
Yeah.
Genius bit of marketing.
You kind of saw that happening though towards when Avengers Campus opened, that they started to introduce more of the roaming characters. I think less so now. Now that I've been in like Avengers Campus recently, it seems to be like less character driven. But certainly within the first 2 years of that expansion happening, they had Spider-Man out, basically always waving you in the mornings. They had the big Avengers reveal next to the Quinjet, where they were all like, yes, we're the Avengers. And everybody was like cheering. And then you'd have like Black Widow doing a show with Taskmaster. You'd have some of the seasonal offerings as well. So like Deadpool, for instance, at Rome, which I think is a really, really fun thing that DLP introduced. And I'm so glad they kept that as well. It's brilliant. And I think they initially started that really well in Avengers Campus. So that was probably like the kind of dummy of, can we do this again? Can we have roaming characters in Paris again? Because obviously they did used to do that back in like the late 90s, early 2000s. They had roaming characters in the main park that you could go up and just get your book signed from them, but they had to kind of take that away because people started pushing and shoving, and there was just so much like aggression towards these meet and greets being roaming in Paris that they did get taken away, unfortunately, from people. But it'll be really good if that does get introduced again, and I think because it's been introduced slowly, we've adapted to it.
I mean, it's iconic that Oaken is wandering around Arundel. Like, nobody thought that he probably actually still would.
No.
With the chaos of a roaming character, but he does actually roam around the land.
He does get swarmed, but they're quite good at controlling it. They put him in front of the fountain, and then they're like, make a kind of circle around him, and he'll choose you.
Yep.
Yeah.
As a pregnant woman, I literally, even Dan can witness this, I was like, I need to sit down. I really need to sit down and get tired. I was just about to sit down, and then somebody said to me, "Oh, Mossy's out." That was it. I
mentioned the M word.
The only thing that I ran for was the fact to see Mossy, because I was so excited, because they kept that a really, really like big secret, because no one knew that Mossy was going to be that, and I don't think Oaken was supposed to be revealed either. So
we
seeing
kind
that,
of knew it because one of the cast members in Hong Kong, when we met Mossy, she said that maybe she's going soon for an adventure. And that was on the day when they announced the opening day of World of Frozen in Disneyland Paris. So we kind of we thought that she was going to be coming over, and it's so nice to see, because that's such an amazing little meet and greet.
Yeah, I literally cried afterwards, because I was like, that was the one thing that I wanted to see while I was there, because I couldn't go on any of the rides. So to me, it was more the experience of being in that land. And that immersiveness of meeting like characters like Mossy and Oaken, it just makes it for you. It immerses you into that world.
Yeah.
I mean, for me, going a little bit sideways from Mossy, but if they can do that for Mossy the Troll, please, somebody at Disney, give us Muppets. Please.
Yeah.
Just Kermit the Frog or Miss Piggy just to appear. A couple of recorded catchphrases. Please, use the Muppets.
Instead of Avatar or Zootopia, Muppets Courtyard.
Or maybe they'll redo the coast, put the Muppets in there.
Yeah, there you go. Dean's got a great idea. Let's do that.
Oh yeah, actually, I
In
never
the
thought about that.
Avengers back to the Muppet.
You imagine that'd be quite the retheme, bro. They'd have their work cut out
And
for them
Lewis
on
is
that
going to
one.
be gutted he's not year to year that I've mentioned the Muppets as well.
But it's a really interesting thing too, because Defunctland did that long video essay on living characters and how they're used in the park. And I don't know if anyone else got through all like 4 or 8 hours of that or whatever. It's two-parter.
Such a good watch.
It's so good. Like I cannot recommend that one enough. But it goes into all the do's and don'ts and whys and why nots of walk around and living characters. It's so fascinating. Which is why I'm really surprised that Olaf has been sticking around. And I'm glad he is. But it is such a risk, and I'm glad that they're controlling the crowd with him, and I'm glad it's working really well.
Just the one thing that we only marginally mentioned is the merchandise. That I think
Oh yeah.
this is the first time where in Disneyland Paris we get very good quality merchandise. But I mean it's like Asian parks level merchandise. Because Paris was always kind of known for the cheaper stuff, and there's still plenty of it, like the what you call them, the little Timu keyrings.
The little Minnie Mouse with a 5 head, the Timu keyring that looks like you got in a 2 pence machine. It's cheap.
And now, like if you look at that, there's loads of merch that they brought over from Hong Kong World of Frozen. There are some of their stuff which are brand new, but
And the
quality
Paris Spirit
wise,
jersey was like kind of a copy of that
yeah.
one.
But the
Still got
quality
it.
of the merch is really good.
Yeah.
And they've got their own stuff as well. And I really like it that they started branding up some of the plushies. So for example, there's one of the new Olaf plushies that's got like a patch on his foot that says World of Frozen, Disneyland Paris.
Yep.
So you know it's from there, and I think that is great. And then just don't listen for a second. It's also quite cool that for the first time in forever, they started doing pass holder merch, and I think that is great. And I feel, do you know what? I always take the Mickey out of Dan, but that's a kind of like that's an ongoing joke. But I actually feel bad about it because for me, when we went to the preview event, I said it to Hannah, like, if I can get this jacket, I'm happy. Even if you don't do anything else and be cute the whole day for that, I'm going to be happy because for the first time we get pass holder merch. And I knew because the guys were in Sarah, Dan, Lou, Jordy, and Jay, they were doing the pass holder event the day before. But I didn't know that Dan wanted the jacket. I only know that one of our other friends, Jordy, wanted the jacket. So I even messaged him saying that, like, if we get in there, do you want me to get your jacket? And he said, like, oh no, because I spent the money that I wanted to spend on it on something else. But I didn't know about that. I only figured it out afterwards. Because otherwise, like, we could have gotten it for him. And I feel bad about it. But at the same time, I think it's an ongoing gag now that I'm just taking the Mickey out of him. That
You're just rubbing salt in the wound. Then.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Until that is completely numb, that it's gonna be.
He just wants
funny.
you to know you could have had a jacket.
Yeah, I liked it. It was
It's a cool jacket, man. I'm not gonna lie.
I thought of Dan after I got home. I could have got him that jacket. I better tell him that.
I didn't know. I wish I did. I do feel bad about it.
I think
It's
the normal
fine.
jacket is better than the annual pass jacket.
I just wanted the annual pass holder one because I wanted to show that I'm better off than everybody else with the normal
It's a
jacket.
class thing. It's a class thing. It's like a better parking space.
It's kind of like with the Funko Pops. You get the Chase version and you're so happy about it. It looks a lot worse than the original. But I have the Chase one and you losers don't have it.
Pretty much.
It's basically just stick on limited edition to anything and we buy it. It doesn't matter if it doesn't look any good. It's limited edition. We have to get that. It's limited edition.
It could be 2 sizes too small for me, but I've got to have it because it's limited edition. Just want to say my preview of the 15th is forgotten about the fact that I did go back in on the 23rd, thanks to the gang that got me in, obviously. and it did change my perspective. So I may have started off a bit negative and bitter towards the start, but hopefully now you would have seen I did appreciate my second preview a lot more.
Yeah, I think the previews got much better over time.
Yeah. And I'm looking forward to going back to experience how it is in a non-preview state. So just sort of going in for the day to see how it's handling things. I still didn't see the Adventure Gardens.
Or the
Is
English
that what it's
garden.
called? Where the English Gardens, sorry. I didn't see those on either preview because I thought that's always going to be there. So I'm looking forward to, as you said before, guys, picking up some food or a coffee and just chilling out.
Some benches.
Yeah, it's very, very pretty.
It's pretty, but it's just some benches. No one's also mentioned the new entrance to Toy Story Land.
I didn't see
Me
it.
neither.
I didn't know there was one.
So you just wanted information on that.
I had anything to say
We
about
know it
it.
exists.
There's the Woody sign that they have in every other country. Never got a picture with it.
Yeah, like it's a bit, you know,
They are
it's
popsicle
just
benches.
They are nice.
How
Yay.
I think what would be interested is if they do expand those lands a little bit more and get a bit more feeling towards that, like especially the cars area.
Yeah.
I think we all really want a better cars area in DLP. So I think now that's got more of an entrance and an expansion, they could probably give it a bit more of a theme in. Come on, let's have Lightning McQueen out, you know. Give us something.
Yeah,
You give
wait to
us
connect it
Rivers of
all.
America, we give you Piston Peak. You can have it.
There's space for it.
Yeah.
We will ship it over.
And if we are going to bring up one other thing before we go, which is they haven't managed to somehow get this right before, but they have with World of Frozen. PhotoPass photographers seem to be everywhere.
Are they?
Excellent.
They were
News
for
to
the
me.
second preview. They were on the bridge. They were by the castle. They
There
were
was
on
a
Adventure Way. They just seem to be there.
But I
Good.
think it's completely random, though. I feel like that's just a random thing that they did, because Paris has this thing of like they randomly have them.
Yeah.
So like they had them right next to the castle last summer, which was really, really good, and I thought there was going to be a bit of a trial period for them to have PhotoPass photographers like more on Main Street to get kind of really nice photos of people. But they just don't do that often. It just seems to be completely random. I don't know whether if there's not a character that's meeting on a specific day that they're like, okay, PhotoPass photographer, you can be in this area and take photos. It seems very like unplanned.
Yeah, for example, our preview day, that was a day after yours, and there was not a single one. And we were just laughing at the day after our preview. We were at the main park, and we were there with Britt and Tim, and there was not a single photographer that day that we could find, and we were just like, where are the photographers? And then Britt just said like, oh, she's over probably at the other park. And but then a day after, then we had the new photo area there just by the mill. There was a random photographer there taking photos, and it was kind of like postcards. Or was it on the Thursday?
Yeah, because a Toy Story out.
And we've never seen that photographer there or anyone being there. So it just seems like randomly, they just turn up, and then some days you get a few photographers, some days you don't have a single one. But it would be quite good if they started thinking about that, they're doing something that to have like a kind of like a proper roster of photographers, and put them to certain locations of the park every single day, because I think a lot of people don't get the photo passes there, because why should I get the photo pass when there's no photographers?
True that.
And I think that would be a good selling point.
Yeah. What a way to show off a new land, having PhotoPass photographers everywhere, which people are going to post on the internet. It's almost like it's free advertising, Disney.
Yeah. And magic shots.
Yeah.
They are good at that free advertising thing. Okay, well, I think we've done quite well. Thank you so much for everybody for coming on and for being part of this one. You guys all made it awesome, and it really helped that you guys have all been, because that just made it so great to talk about. Because other than that, we were just going to talk about ride-throughs, and that was going to be boring. So thank you so much for sharing your opinions, and thanks for sharing the good and the bad. We're always curious to see what it's like, especially with a new land. It's just a brand new experience in a park is always kind of a rarity. So we're grateful that you guys kind of were our boots on the ground, so to speak. But thank you so much for joining us, guys. We really appreciate it, and we'll see you again. We hope to see you again on another episode, and we'll see everyone else on another episode. Thank you so much for watching, and have a great evening.
Thank you. Bye.